Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Anne-Marie Medina. My role at the University of Arizona Health Sciences is Director of Corporate and Community Relations for the Tucson campus. I would also like to introduce you to Caroline Berger, who is the Director of Corporate and Community Relations in Phoenix, and also Allison Otu, who is our Executive Director. We are a brand new team, and we are excited to engage with you, so we invite you to send us an email and stay connected with us. A little bit about the University of Arizona Health Sciences. We are the statewide leader in biomedical research and health professions training. The University of Arizona Health Sciences includes the colleges of medicine in both Phoenix and Tucson, the colleges of nursing, pharmacy, and the Mellon Enid Zuckerman College of Public Health. The main campus locations are in both Tucson and the growing Phoenix Biomedical Campus in downtown Phoenix. From these vantage points, the health sciences reaches across the state of Arizona and the greater Southwest to provide cutting-edge health education, research, and community outreach services. As a major economic engine, the health sciences employs nearly 5,000 people, has approximately 4,000 students and 900 faculty members, and it garners over $200 million in research grants and contracts annually. I'd also like to introduce you to our leader, Dr. Michael Dake, who serves as the Senior Vice President for Health Sciences. I encourage you to follow the University of Arizona Health Sciences social media accounts to learn about all the amazing work that is done, especially in the last few months by our clinicians, our researchers, and our students in response to COVID-19. I'm sure you have heard a lot about it in the news recently, and we are extremely proud of the great work that is being done and that is being recognized on a national level. If you're on social media and you want to help promote our events, use the hashtag WellnessWednesdayAZ. Or you can also tag me using my Twitter handle at @AMedinaWildcat. I want to share an overview with you for today. We've got about 15 to 20 minutes where our presenter will be speaking, and then you will have an opportunity to be able to ask questions. We do have everybody muted for everybody's enjoyment, but we'd love to hear from you using the chat function. So if you just look at the bottom of your screen and click on the chat, leave me a question, and after the presentation is finished, I'll read those questions to our presenter. We really like to be engaged, so we look forward to your questions. Also, be on the lookout for our post-event email. We'll send you links to all the resources that our presenter discusses, along with a short 2-minute evaluation. And we really do thank you in advance for filling out that evaluation. Those metrics are important for us to track, and we appreciate your feedback. We are recording the session today, and the recording link will be emailed to you. So we encourage you to share it with your friends and on social media. And we'll include the links to our previous sessions just in case you missed one or you want to watch it again. So allow me to introduce our speaker. Dr. Judith Gordon is a professor and associate dean for research in the College of Nursing. She is also a professor in the Department of Family and Community Medicine at the University of Arizona. Dr. Gordon received her doctorate degree in clinical psychology from the University of Oregon. Go Ducks! Dr. Gordon uses multi-behavioral interventions to address weight, physical activity, and tobacco, along with the use of mobile health technologies such as mobile apps for lifestyle change. Dr. Gordon has led research teams to develop and test guided imagery interventions for smoking cessation, achieving a healthy lifestyle, and most recently for reducing anxiety related to social isolation. I'm very excited to hear from Dr. Gordon today, so I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. I will let her take over, and Dr. Gordon, welcome.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Let me just share my screen with everyone. There we go. Hopefully everyone can see. Welcome everybody. Today I'm going to discuss with you the use of guided imagery for coping with social isolation. So first of all, there are many facets to isolation. Many of us are undergoing stay-at-home or shelter-in-place orders. We were just discussing today how that's a little bit confusing right now for some of us. And some of us, even though stay-at-home orders may be eased over the next few weeks, we may still feel more comfortable staying at home. The isolation that we experience when we're stuck at home has many levels. One of them certainly has to do with not seeing people, but a lot of it has to do with being stuck indoors. We in Arizona are a little bit lucky in that we get to go outside and do things in the outdoors, but many people, such as folks in New York and LA and even in Spain, are stuck inside 24 hours a day. And so they have limited or no access to being outside. We know that just being outdoors is very important for our mental health. And if you have limited ability to engage in enjoyable outdoor activities, your mood can suffer. And so during times like this, many people may experience increased stress and anxiety and mood changes just because you can't go outside and do the things that you normally would do. So one way to deal with this is through the use of guided imagery. So guided imagery is also sometimes called enhanced visualization or guided meditation, but it differs from traditional forms of meditation or mindfulness in that it is usually done with somebody else helping you to visualize things, but you can do it on your own as well, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Guided imagery uses a multi-sensory experience. So it's not just visualization. I like to call it sometimes visualization on steroids. So you're incorporating not only sights, but sounds and smells and tastes, tactile sensations, and importantly, emotions. And it will focus on a specific activity or specific scenario. We know that guided imagery has been used for a very long time, and research has shown that it is used by athletes successfully to improve their athletic performance. So for example, Michael Phelps has often talked about using guided imagery to help him prepare for his swimming. He practices in his mind, as in addition to in the pool, exactly what his stroke is going to be like, what his race is going to be like. So he imagines feeling the water on his body and how his breath is going to be and how many strokes until he reaches the end of the pool and makes his turn, etc. We also know that guided imagery is effective for making positive lifestyle changes. My colleagues and I have used it very successfully to help people quit smoking, to increase physical activity, and to eat a more healthy diet. And then finally, we know that it helps people deal with chronic pain and it reduces stress. And so we are now using this specifically for reducing stress as a result of social isolation. So now that I've given you an idea of what guided imagery is, I'd like to play for you a sample guided imagery audio file. And this will give you a really good idea of how guided imagery can be used to help you think about being outdoors, as well as relaxing you and making you feel a more positive mood.
Take a deep breath and hold it for 3 to 4 seconds. Exhale slowly while thinking, I am serene. Release any tension in your body and mind. Allow yourself to breathe deeply and fully down to your belly. Feel the rise of your belly as you breathe in, and the fall of your belly as you breathe out. Take a few more deep breaths and feel calm and relaxed. You are high up in the majestic mountains. You're surrounded by immense mountains on all sides. You can see the snow-capped peaks in the distance and the thick forest of pine trees growing along the valleys in between. There's a deer grazing in the lush green grass in a far-off meadow. There are tall pine trees on either side of you, and you can see the dappled sunlight filtering through their feathery green needles. You can hear the breeze blowing through the trees, making them sway lightly back and forth. Birds are chirping, and there are squirrels leaping through the branches high above your head. You feel the cool air dancing across your skin. You breathe in deeply, smelling pine and damp earth. It smells like it just rained. You feel light and at ease. Your muscles are relaxed and your mind is clear. You look down at the shimmering green valley stretching out beneath you. You feel energized and excited. The mountains rise up around you. The view is breathtaking. You inhale deeply, appreciating the fresh air and the smell of the pines. The sun feels warm against your skin. You feel totally calm and renewed.
I hope you enjoyed that. I hate to intrude on everybody's relaxation now. But so that's just one example of what a guided imagery audio file can do. If you are interested in creating your own tailored audio files, there are some simple tips and techniques for doing that. The main thing, as you could hear from that example, is that you want to create a very vivid scene in your mind. The more vivid the scene is, the more you will get out of the experience of listening to it. So first of all, focus on, perhaps for the first time that you do this, a favorite outdoor place or an activity that you enjoy doing in the outdoors. Think about something that's relaxing for you to do, or something that's very fun and enjoyable for you to do. So some examples might be, going to the beach, or hiking in the desert, or even just listening to birdsong, watching birds frolic. You might want to think about horseback riding or other things like that. But so think about some scenes and start to think about what it's like for you to be in that particular scenario. The next thing to do is to write down your script. So basically, you want to think about all of the details and use very evocative language, such as what we used in that example that you listened to. So as you're thinking about that particular scene or activity, think about all the details, all the nuances of what goes on in that activity. Write those all down in your script. Use lots of adjectives and adverbs. So you're thinking about the lush green grass or the clear blue sky. Think about how you're feeling. Think about all of your senses. So, you might even want to write down each one of those senses and make sure that you're touching on all of them. So you've got not only your sights, but what sounds do you hear? What tastes might you be tasting? If it's, for example, you're someplace in the wintertime and you're drinking hot coffee. What does that hot coffee feel and taste like? Are there any smells? such as the rain, fresh rain smell in our example. Do you feel anything? You know, are you sitting on something or feeling something soft with your hands? And then finally, make sure that you're including your emotional state when you're engaging in that activity or when you're in that particular place. Focus on your feelings of happiness and well-being. There are many different ways that a person can feel happy or feel good. So you might be proud of an accomplishment if you're working really hard, or you might be feeling very relaxed. But focus on the positive. We are all under a lot of stress and dealing with a lot of negative emotions right now. And so it's important for us to remember and focus on positive emotions and positive feelings. So even if you're not feeling so positive right now, when you're thinking about that happy place or happy activity, focus on the feelings that you have when you're there. And then finally, you're going to want to practice using your guided imagery. So listening every once in a while to one of these guided imagery scripts is really not going to be very helpful to you. Frequent use is the key. So just like everything else, like learning to drive or playing the piano, you need to practice using this skill in order for it to be the most effective. What I suggest is if you want to create these for yourselves, you can take your final script and record it as an audio file on your phone. Listen to your script at least once a day. If after you've recorded your script on your phone, you either decide you want to make some changes to your script, that's great. Make some edits, listen to it again, make some edits again. If you're like me and you don't like listening to the sound of your own voice, ask a friend, a family member, or a colleague even to record your script for you. You can easily send it to somebody by email and have them record it on their phone and have them send their MP3 or MP4 file back to you to listen to. Make sure you listen to your script at least once a day. If you're feeling particularly stressed, you might listen to it more than once a day. You might want to set a reminder for yourself on your phone to remind yourself to take that time and listen to your file. The more you listen to it, the more you will be able to sort of automatically recall those images. So you might be stressed and you can just start to mentally play back that script in your head and feel those relaxation feelings wash over you. The more you practice, the more vivid those images will become and the more effective they will become. And if you get bored listening to the same script, create multiple scripts. Think about other things you enjoy doing. Record multiple scripts and that'll keep things fun and interesting for you. Now, if you don't want to create your own scripts, my colleagues and I have recently been funded by the University of Arizona Bio5 Rapid Seed Grant mechanism to create the See Me Serene mobile app for coping with social isolation. The See Me Serene app contains a variety of audio files. Currently, we have 50 different files and we're building on those each week. You can listen to any of those that you like as much as you like. It also has a list of mental health resources that you can use if the app alone is not helping you to improve your mood. And we are conducting a pilot study of the app's impact on anxiety. We're going to be recruiting 100 participants. So what we're going to be asking of our participants is to complete a baseline and follow-up survey, to provide 8 saliva samples because we are going to be measuring cortisol, which is a biomarker of stress, and to use the app for 4 weeks, every day for that 4-week period. And so For people who meet the eligibility criteria and participate in the study, they will receive a $50 e-gift card for participating. And we're going to be starting the study in about a week or so. And so if you are interested in participating in the study, we have here in the green lower right corner the link to go to a contact form. You can fill out your information and someone from our project team will get in touch with you and tell you a little bit more about our study. And the See Me Serene app will be available on both the Google Play Store and the Apple Store, the iTunes Store, for anybody to use. You don't need to participate in the study to be able to use the app. It's just not available quite yet. We're hoping it'll be available again in the next week or so. And I know that Anne-Marie said she was going to include this REDCap link in the information that she sends out after this talk. And then finally, here is a list of resources, which I'm not going to go over, but Anne-Marie will also make available to all of you. So this app alone may not help everybody with changes in mood. And for anybody, if you are in an emergency, please dial 911. If not, there are many different resources that you can use and access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And for U of A students, if anyone's listening, or if you're a faculty member here at the university and have students who you think would benefit from help, there are some resources for students as well. Thank you, and now we are open for questions.
Well, thank you, Dr. Gordon. That was a fantastic presentation, and I'm feeling much more relaxed already. So I'm really looking forward to using guided imagery. And I'm probably, like some people, would probably like to have somebody else record it for me, because I don't like the sound of my voice when I hear it. So
I completely understand.
There was a question on if there is a benefit to that, to doing your own guided imagery and listening to your own voice. Is there a benefit to that as opposed to listening to somebody else?
So that's very interesting. There has not been research on whether listening to your own voice versus someone else's is more beneficial, but we come across that question all the time in all the studies that we've done. And just what we hear from most people is that they prefer that someone else, that they're listening to someone else's voice, and then it's more in the third person. But we don't know that, and it might be more impactful if you create a script where you're saying, I feel this and I feel that, versus having it be in the third person. So there are probably advantages and disadvantages to each approach.
Interesting. There was a question on if there was the best time of the day to actually do a guided imagery. Is it better to do it in the morning or the evening? Is there any better time?
So absolutely any time is a good time. And what we found is that tailoring the time to your schedule is the thing that is going to work best. So instead of forcing yourself to do it at a particular time of day, pick the time that you think is going to work best for you. And again, if you set it for a certain time of day, like first thing in the morning, and you find that that doesn't seem to be working well for you, change it up. Try another time. Just use it as a learning experience and pick the time that works best for you. And again, you're not limited to only one time a day.
Right. Great. One of the comments was that this seems to be an extremely cheap and easy way to declutter the mind. And why is it not being used or advocated more in schools or in prisons or during wellness visits? Why don't we see this as a tool that is used more often?
Probably because the research on guided imagery has been, as I said, mostly related to sports performance, athletic performance. And then more recently, it's been used for, again, chronic pain and for stress. It has not really been studied for the use in social isolation per se.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably why it's not been used more, because there isn't a huge body of evidence regarding this, and that's why we're doing this study. However, as more word gets out, if people find it useful to them, then I'm hoping it will start to be used in more places.
Wonderful. One of the questions was, are there any really good websites or apps or YouTube channels that you suggest? And one of our listeners actually mentioned one that she uses, which is meditainment.com. And so do you have any that you recommend that are good for guided imagery if people don't want to record their own?
So there are lots of apps out there that provide relaxation. So, you know, one of the more common ones I'm sure you've seen is the Calm app. The See Me Serene app is the first app that is going to focus specifically on these kind of outdoor activities. So if you're looking for a relaxation app, there are lots of them out there. Again, there's not a lot of research being done on those specific apps, so I can't tell you which ones are evidence-based and which ones aren't. But if you're looking specifically for outdoor activities, the See Me Serene app is the only one that's going to be out there, and that it's going to be actually evaluated.
Wonderful. One of the questions was that they wanted to learn more about the outcomes from your research. And so was there anything else that you learned about this process that you haven't shared with us?
I think what we've learned is that the more engaged people are in using guided imagery, the more effective it is for them. And that's, I think, probably true of anything, right? The more engaged you are in the process, the more you're going to get out of it. So, you know, it is effective in helping people make these kinds of changes. It also has to be paired with some behavioral changes too. Right. So, for example, if you're feeling very stressed out by watching the news all day, every day about the pandemic, you need to turn off the TV and just schedule small bits of media consumption. If you are getting absolutely no physical activity at all, then you need to make some changes there and get a little bit of physical activity, even if it's working out in front of the TV in your living room. So guided imagery alone can't help you to make positive lifestyle changes, but it is very effective in combination with some behavioral changes.
Wonderful. One question was that they loved it, that this is part of the nursing college, and they wanted to know if it was going to be adopted in the teaching of the nursing students at the University of Arizona.
At this moment, we don't have any plans for including this because we are scientists and we're conducting research on this. We want really to be able to do some evaluation of the app to make sure that it works the way that we expect that it's going to work. Once it is, then we certainly would be very happy to include this in curriculum and make it available for people to use on a regular basis. We're just all about evidence-based programs.
There was a question on the research study that you're doing. First of all, when is it going to start with the current conditions? And also they're assuming that it could only be local folks since they're going to need to be able to take saliva samples. So
we're hoping that we're going to start the study, as I said, in the next week or two. We're all ready to go except for getting the app deployed to all the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. We have to jump through a few hoops for that. And so again, hoping in the next week or two, we'll be ready to go with the study and for people to just use the app, even if they don't want to participate in the study. And actually, no, people don't have to be local to provide saliva samples. People can be anywhere in the state, the nation, It is limited to the United States just because participants need to be residents of the United States in order to receive their incentive. But we are going to be mailing the saliva samples to participants. So they'll be able to to provide the saliva samples in the comfort of their own home, and then send them back to us at the end for analysis. So people can be anywhere.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Gordon. I really appreciate it, and we really enjoyed having you today. I'm going to go ahead and go back to sharing my screen here, and let me get to my slide. So thank you again for joining us for this wonderful presentation, and a special thanks again to Dr. Gordon. Please remember, you're going to receive that email evaluation for the event today. Don't forget, all of the links will be in there. There'll be recording links so that you can share it with friends or listen to it again. We're also going to include a link to the UA Health Sciences entire virtual calendar of events. So there's lots of resources there, so make sure and look for that. Don't forget, sign up for next week's event, where we're going to have Jennifer Parlin, who is with the Garden Kitchen, which is a program of the University of Arizona Cooperative Extension. She's going to talk about using fresh vegetables, how you store them longer, how you can use them across multiple recipes in multiple weeks. So that one will be a really good one. So we look forward to listening to Jen. So again, until we see you again next week, on behalf of all of us at the University of Arizona Health Sciences, be safe, be well, and bear down.